In today's video, we are back at Burtonwood services on the M62 in Cheshire. Subscribers to the channel may remember that we made a video a few months ago all about the Burtonwood services, the brand new distribution park and the history of where it is all built. The reaction to the video was amazing. So many people didn't actually know that Burtonwood was a military airbase and that the M62 was actually built on the runway. Sadly, all the original traces of the airbase have now disappeared. But there is good news. Currently under construction, there is a memorial to the Burtonwood airbase that will sit right alongside the M62. This brilliant memorial will even stand taller than the Angel of the North next to the A1 up in the northeast. So let's discuss it. One truck as I. Also in this video I'll be trying to answer some of the questions raised on my last Burtonwood video. More on that later. But for now, we've just come off the M62 Junction 8 and we're heading into Amiga South. We're currently heading in a westerly direction and the M62 is alongside us to our right. Shortly coming into view you'll see the cones in the middle of the road. The cones have been placed there as this is going to be the location for the new memorial to the Burtonwood airbase. As we head up to the roundabout, you'll notice a rather large concrete plinth. This is the plinth that the new fantastic memorial to Burtonwood airbase will stand on. The plinth itself is 8.4 metres square and stands at over 2 metres tall. But just what is going to be standing on the plinth? Well, it's going to be absolutely brilliant. It's going to be a sculpture of one of these. That is the Lockheed P-38, which was also known by another name, Lightning. And it's a sculpture of that very aircraft that will sit upon this plinth. The memorial itself will be 22.5 metres tall, which is just under 74 feet. The Lockheed P-38 Lightning fighter at the top will be 5 metres or just about 16 feet long. The memorial itself is under construction at a company called Campbell's. Campbell's are a steel fabricator and they are based in Hull over on Humberside. Once completed, the sculpture will travel by truck across the M62 to Warrington. This is due to take place late in July 2025, with the completion of the project due in early August. One thing is for sure, that the sculpture is going to look absolutely amazing. This is how the plinth looks from the other side, heading east. The sculpture will even be lit up at night using searchlights. There will unfortunately be a 4-day closure of this road that we are on at the moment, which is Skyline Drive. Over the coming weeks, I will try my best to get into the area as much as possible to see just how the construction process is going. So do make sure that you're subscribed to the channel for any coming updates. So it's time to head back over to Burtonwood services, where we're going to answer some of the questions that we received following the release of the first Burtonwood video. The first question to answer was this one. Do you have any pictures of the two conical roof buildings standing together in a photograph? Sadly, the only answer I have to that one is the picture that I used in the first video, which can be found on the internet. It's very grainy and hard to see, but you can just about make out the two conical roof buildings right in the distance. Obviously, zooming in will not have the clarity, but the one on the left is the one that's still standing to this very day. Another question that was asked is, how do you know that there is still an underpass underneath the motorway? Presumably you meant the footpath or subway that connected both services when they both existed on each side of the motorway. This one's quite easy to answer. If you're driving along the M62 and passing Burtonwood services, you'll notice a very short type of bridge. This is the subway underneath. If you actually visit the services and head into the outdoor seating near to the Starbucks, you can actually see the area that's cordoned off that takes you down to where the subway still stands today. These are some drone shots that I also took of the area. I'm going to leave the best question till last. The penultimate question though was the services that they knocked down smaller than the one that they didn't? Well, as far as I remember, the services were both pretty much identical on both sides of the motorway. Using this drone shot as it turns to the left, you can see Cheshire Way, which is the road that represents the old boundary of the service station. Furthermore, you can still see a small piece of the old slip road that was the entrance into Burtonwood services from the M62 on the westbound side. Further along towards Junction 8, and a little bit more conspicuous, you might notice this small piece of tarmac. This piece of tarmac was part of the exit back onto the M62 before Junction 8 was built. Since making that original video, I came across this old photograph. Unfortunately, as they always are, it's a little bit grainy, but what a brilliant shot this really is. This photograph was clearly taken once the westbound services had been demolished, Cheshire Way and Junction 8 had already been constructed, and the first 3 or 4 units were in place at the back of where the services used to stand. Offering the modern day drone shot next to the photograph shows you the buildings that have been completed since. Now, I did say I'd leave the best question till last, and it's a corker. The question was in relation to this photograph. How do you know that that's the runway from Burtonwood? It just looks like tarmac that has been left in a field. Well, where to start with that one? My own first memories of it was actually seeing it on the M62. Once you'd passed the westbound Burtonwood services that has now been demolished, and you passed the exit slipway, you would see this on the left hand side. Everybody knew what it was. Even doing a little bit of research on the internet, you'll find plenty of places that mention the M62 being built on the site of the former runway. It's even mentioned in some documentaries, and you can even see the traffic still flowing down the M62.
The main runway became the M62, and by
just playing that footage again while slowing it up, you'll even notice that in the distance you can see what was the old control tower, and it's also seen here prior to demolition. But here in 2025 we can show you where this piece of runway was in the picture just by looking at a certain something. Despite all the changes to the M62 in this area, there's always been one constant: electricity pylons. In this photograph we're looking in an easterly direction towards Manchester, and you'll notice that the cables cross the motorway at this point. This pylon you can see on the left is the first of 6 that run in a straight line between here and what is now Junction 8 of the M62. And this is Junction 8 of the M62. You might just be able to make out the pylon here, which is the 6th in a straight line. And even though we only have this grainy photograph to run off, you can just about make out that there are 6 pylons running along the side of the motorway. But why do we need to know that there are 6 in a straight line? Well, with this being number 6 here, we know by boringly counting them as we drive along the motorway that this one here is the 6th one too, which goes to show that this is the exact location of where the runway was prior to Junction 8 being built, and the runway was then lost forever. I do hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, please give the video a like. I'll do my best to keep posting updates about the bolt of lightning, so do make sure you're subscribed, and don't forget to click the bell for notifications of when videos are posted. I'll see you all next time on the Trucker's Eye.